In this episode, it's finally time to take Project Low Fairmont on some extended drives because we have both gauges in the Ashtray gauge pod finally working. Welcome to the channel. My name's Grant Tommy. This is Straight Six Fan. So, welcome back, faithful subscribers. But if it's your first time here on Straight Six Fan, I like to focus on budget-minded, relatable, creative builds. A little something I like to call offbeat hot rodding. And today we are back on Project Low Fairmont, and the hope today is that we get to go on some extended driving to get rid of that old gas from when I bought it way back in August or late July. I don't even remember when I bought this thing, but as you know, if you've been following for a long time, the fuel gauge doesn't work, and so when I bought the car, like, I went immediately to the gas station to put some gas in it, but the fuel shut off. You know, the handle kept clicking, and I got like next to nothing in there. And then a couple weeks later, I drove it for a little bit, went to the gas station, and again got the same experience. And as time went on, I think it was full because as I've driven it more and more and more, like, I noticed one day, you know, sometimes I walk over the back bumper to my toolbox, and like I could hear gas sloshing. So pretty sure I had a full tank of gas when I bought it. But anyway, that gas has been in there way too long. So, but before I can do that, I want to make sure I can keep tabs on my vitals. As you remember, that's why I was doing the whole Ashtray gauge pod build, and we are only left with the oil pressure gauge. So let me bring you up to speed on where we are with that, because if you forgot where we left off there, well, here, just have a look. Okay, so it's Saturday night, April 13th here, and I got a tiny window of time between home responsibilities here, so I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed what I'm trying to accomplish here today in front of tomorrow when I usually record. But after the last video trying to working on the oil pressure sending unit, you guys know I kind of ran out a wrench for a 3/8" wrench, and so that Sunday, I went on like the epic search for a longer 3/8" wrench. And you remember I had lost that amount of nylon tubing. And guys, if you don't remember all this, I'll put a card up here so you can watch that video, get caught up to speed, get that context. But after all that time thinking about all that, I just kind of broke down and decided, Gary, Mr. Mach 1, recommended I just get one of these a long time ago, this oil pressure sending unit extension. And if you think this is going to work out and be your solution as well, I'll leave a link, an Amazon link down below as well, so you can pick up one of your own. But yeah, when I started weighing the well, first off, all the wrenches I found, or should I say didn't find, like, the length on them wasn't going to be that much bigger than what I already had, and a lot of them that were long were like closed in, boxed in wrenches, ratcheting wrenches. So, you know, that really wasn't going to help either. So anyway, after just thinking through, it was like, okay, well, I'm going to spend that money anyway. Maybe the solution was really just buy one of these. So I'll give a budget update here before the end of the episode, because I don't have that information with me right now. Like I said, I've got a tiny window to do a little bit of stuff here. Man, the ADD is bad here. But I was able to use an Amazon gift card and some of my Discover cashback bonus, so I'm only paying the budget somewhere in the $12 range. But anyway, I was going to spend well more than that on a wrench that, while it would be good to have for the rest of the time, just thought, you know what, this solves two problems. Since I lost that bit of nylon tubing, I'll gain a little length back, and you know, this ends up being 3/4 inch, so the amount that it sticks out, I've got plenty of room to get like my 3/4. I've already sort of tried this 3/4 inch ratcheting wrench on it and get that tightened up, which is what I'm going to go do right now. So anyway, I already got the Teflon tape on the threads, so I'm going to get that in, and hopefully we can get this buttoned up, if not tonight, early tomorrow. Okay, so we're back to Sunday now, and I was able to last night get the oil pressure sending unit extension on, and you can see, the way I ended up tightening it, I made sure that the chamfer was actually kicked back a little bit towards the driver's seat, and I think this helped out just great. And it helped solve, as I mentioned, yesterday or evening, how it helped give me back a little bit of the tube I lost. And so it worked out great where I could now feed this up into this wire loom and come out the other side. And so I feel pretty good about that. I feel like that's a good distance away from the exhaust manifold. I will probably still figure out a way to wrap that in electrical tape or something to help insulate it better. But eventually the idea is to get a set of headers, and so when I do that, I will probably exhaust wrap that with the leftover I have from the Rat Rod radio flyer. But anyway, it's time now to troubleshoot and make sure I've got everything leak free. So to do that, I'm gonna make sure I've got plenty of rags in the interior. I don't want to screw up my new carpet. Should my connection to the back of the gauge not be the best. So I'm gonna get that set up, pull the ashtray out so I can monitor this thing filling up that tube with oil. And let me tell you, this oil needs to be changed so it is nice and gross and dark and black, but I've been holding off on doing that until I hopefully, do that head swap. But let's get that situated. The second rag is just for my hand here. An old pair of jeans, as you can probably see. But should we start squirting oil everywhere, I'll have something I can drape over the top and kill the engine. But if we have no leaks in the back of the gauge, then I'll pull it out and we'll take a look under the hood and make sure we have no leaks on the front side. And if we're good, I'll hook the ashtray back up, put on the Velcro strips we talked about, get that all tidied up, and we're gonna take this for a drive and maybe even do a little Jason Carr how many miles till empty excursion. Although I don't know that I'm gonna do it all today, because I don't know, there might be like 140 miles or something left on this tank, so it might be spanned out over a number of days. But I certainly will go for an extended drive, probably the longest drive I've ever taken this on, if we are good without oil leaks. Alright, now for the moment of truth, and I'd be lying to you if I told you I wasn't just a little bit scared. Looky there. I don't really see any oil coming into the tube, but we are already well up into 60 psi, so all right, dropping a little here now, it's gonna dry. So not seeing any leaks yet, so that's fantastic. Time to go check out under the hood. All right, so checked under the hood and felt pretty good about that. If it's leaking any, it's ever so slightly at the moment. So I feel pretty good about that. I will say, there we go, there's my cheat sheet. I promised you guys a budget update, so that oil pressure sending unit extension, which again, I will have a link, an Amazon link, if you want to pick one of those up for your own small block Ford. But budget update, that out of my own pocket ended up pinging $12.53. So as we last left it, the budget was at $1,627.64. So now minus that $12.53, we are left with $1,615.11 of the original $4,000 budget. But let's go for a ride, and again, this is gonna be the start of probably a series, maybe, of videos. How many miles till empty? Since I don't have a trip odometer, obviously on a 1978 vintage, we are at 68,376 miles right now. So let's see how many miles we can clock on this thing before we run out of gas, and then it'll be time to drop that tank. Which that actually reminds me, as I'm saying this out loud, I need to go grab my gas tank. Okay, so I spun around the neighborhood once and I noticed the oil pressure was dropping a little bit, so I did confirm there is a tiny leak on one of the fittings, but I think I have it narrowed down to which one it is, so we'll futz with that later. I think I might wait to correct that when I do that oil change, because I can take the oil filter off, have better access at that time. But anyway, the like as I'm driving now, we're holding, you know, we're about 50 psi, and then it drops down below 40 here. It's down to about 30 at idle. Guys, tell me if there's anything I should be worried about that. As far as I know, I think that's fine, I think. So anyway, just cruising through the neighborhood right now. I'm gonna get out to the highway. The next town over from me is about 6 miles away from the town I live in. So I'm just gonna kind of do a couple loops, go drive over to the other town, turn around, come back. Okay, why not? Found a good no outlet road to do 0 to 60 testing. So we'll pull up the app and we'll give that a shot. Alright, so there was a little bit of, it's downhill at the start, and then I'd probably say I got to like 48 miles an hour, and then it started to go uphill, so maybe not the best spot in terms of a flat, easy surface to do it on, but it's a no outlet road, kind of out of the way, nobody'd know. I was just kind of excited to hear it peel out. I didn't think this old gal had it in her with the crappy gearing it has, but anyway, we'll continue driving here. The gauge pod was just bouncing around while driving on the highway. So what I'm doing now is, this is the normal size strip, so taking it and cutting it down into strips that will match the thickness of what I made the gauge pod out of. So anyway, the length of this is just about perfect for the sides. So I'm gonna cut one for each side, and then I gotta do 2 across the front. So we have the tops all lined. Now what we gotta do is pull the strips off and then hold it in place for 30 seconds. I'm going to wedge underneath of it, screwdriver, after that 30 seconds to kind of help it keep some pressure on it in place. But yeah, easy peasy. All right, so we've got the Ashtray gauge pod in place. I feel really good about that now. Finally, like, donezo, check that off the list. Went to early church today, so I've got more time than I normally do on a Sunday. So I think what I'm gonna do is start shooting Tuesday's episode here. It's only 12:30 at the moment, so I got another good 2.5 hours to 3.5 really, if I want. So I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do there. But guys, thanks for joining us. I'm going to do another 20-mile run here because I do want to drive this thing to work someday, which is basically 30 miles in, 30 miles out. So I want to make sure I've got that confidence that I know it can go 30 miles. You know, but anyway, again, if you want to give your guesses below where you think we'll end up, I'll give you another opportunity whenever there's that other video. Sometime down the road, I don't know. But guys, thanks for making it this long. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I don't care which one you do, as long as you do one of them. I really appreciate any one of those. If you want a straight 6-fan Pistons tee, link to my Spreadshirt store below. And then, you know what? If you're trying to guess what I'm going to do next, well, if you would have tuned in to Thursday's live stream, the Car Guy and Six Fan Show, you would have had a pretty good idea of what that's going to be. So I highly recommend you guys check in with us weekly on the Car Guy and Six Fan Show. Now, that is a joint venture, so Jason and I switch back and forth every other week as to who hosts it on their channel. And if you're like, Jason, who's Jason? Well, up here in the corner, there's a card for Old Car Auto Guy's channel. So go over there, subscribe to him, because when I'm not hosting it, like this week, this Thursday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, it will be hosted on his channel. So you got to subscribe to both of us to catch it every week. Anyway, we do some fun stuff. We talk automotive news. We give you some tips and tricks with how we've grown, how we've struggled, how we've hacked the YouTube system. We do channel shout-outs and many other, well, not really many other things, but a few other things. So we have fun with it. But that's gonna do it for this episode. Till next time, peace out.